So it is so good to see all of you. My name is Josh Cross, for those I haven't met before, and I'm the interim CEO at the Chamber of Commerce. And this is a program that's been around since November of last year. And it's just a way to bring the business community together to talk about current events and learn what's going on. Um, and to have some fun. And that's why we've partnered with some beverage companies, and we've had cookie companies in the past. So it's, I think actually, I've just talked to Groves 41, and Groves 41 is going to be our kids partner next month and do some olive oil tasting. So that'll be fun too, and support another local business. Well, I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation that's just to kind of guide us through. Uh, this isn't a super formal. We have allowed the chat functionality to be working, so throw in your comments or your questions for our presenters, and we'll give everyone a chance to respond to those when they're done speaking. Okay, let me push the right button here to get us going. All right, thumbs up if you can see my screen.
No.
Thank you. Okay, Vicky.
That's black.
There it comes.
Back, okay. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to tell you what we're going to learn about today. So we'll have Jackie Fields from Wild Fields Brewhouse talking about our beer kit today. We are going to do a speed networking session. We'll have some vaccine updates from Katelyn and Michelle, who are from the SLO County Emergency Operations Center. We'll have some city updates from new council member Mark Dariz. We have some business highlights, or a business spotlight from Leslie Kubin, Healing the Quantum Way, who is en route from Portland back down to Atascadero, but she has a fun commercial for us to watch. We are going to be putting a spotlight on the Boys and Girls Club, and we're joined by Jillian Shumate, who is going to be talking to us about that wonderful program. And then I have just a few updates to talk about what's going on behind the scenes at the Chamber. So with that, I'm going to hand the mic, so to speak, off to Jackie to talk about the beer kit that we're enjoying today.
Yeah, awesome. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Josh, so much for having us. So if you don't know about Wild Fields Brewhouse, we are in the same building as the Atascadero Chamber of Commerce. So I have the privilege of seeing the Chamber folks a lot. So I'm Jackie Fields. I'm just
not too much, not too much.
I only come over and give Josh more ideas and projects on the regular. So for those of you that were able to grab some beer from us, thank you so much for supporting us as well as the Chamber and enjoying a refreshing beverage while we learn a lot more about our community tonight. I just wanted to share with you real quick about what you're enjoying, and if there's some time, maybe I'll tell you a little bit about us, but I want to tell you about the beer first. So those of you that picked it up, you got a 4-pack of beer. It came in this really funky looking holder, and this holder is a pretty amazing invention. It's made out of corn. And so if these were to get thrown onto the street or fall out of a trash can and float into our oceans, it will slowly become soft and turn into food for the turtles and the fish. So we think that's a really fun thing to share with you, which is why I wanted to do a 4-pack tonight. It's really important to us to be responsible as much as we can be in an industry that does waste a lot of water and precious resources. So within that 4-pack holder tonight, you have 4 different beers that we have brewed here. My husband is the brewer and the only employee in the brewery, so he's a busy guy. The first one is our Simply Genuine Blonde Ale. And so that one we named after the Visit Atascadero slogan, embracing all that Atascadero is, and that simply genuine lifestyle that we have here. We wanted it to be a beer that was enjoyable for everyone and anyone. So really simple, easy drinking. And this recent batch that you are enjoying tonight is brewed with 100% locally grown and malted grain from a farmer up in San Miguel named Kenny Eni. He owns Eni Ranch and he malts his own grain there on site. So really, really cool. And a blonde ale has a lot going on in it because it puts the grain on the front of everything. So there's not a lot of hops or fancy things in there to muck it up. So that's all his malt that you'll be enjoying tonight. The second one in the lineup is our Kings of Steel, which is a really fun sessionable English dark mild. We like to do a lot of styles that maybe people aren't familiar with to kind of broaden your horizons and expose you to more of this wonderful world that is beer. That one is named after one of our pinball games. Ryan was really proud that he got the highest score on our pinball game here. And so we have Kings of Steel as one of our amazing beverages for you tonight. And that one comes in at 3.8%. So super sessionable, but nice and roasty and bold and flavorful. The next lineup beer I have on there for you is our Porch Drinkin', which is just a really awesome pale ale, really classic, got a nice malt backbone to it, but a lot of flavor on the finish. I included this one because we dreamed up Porch Drinkin' sitting on our beer during COVID and just saying, man, we really need a beer. We could just sit on this porch and enjoy this view. It was us just trying to embrace all that Atascadero has given us, even in the storm that is COVID. And then the last one in that 4-pack is Mouse Rock IPA, and we named that after a surf spot in Cayucas. Ryan didn't surf as much here, but he went down to San Diego and became a surfer, so it's been fun for him to really adventure and explore the surf spots here on the Central Coast. So that's your 4-pack. According to my account, I still have 1 minute to tell you a little bit more about Wild Fields. So real quick about us, other than being a brewery, we also have a restaurant and we have a family-centric kind of feel to us. So we do have arcade games, and in honor of the former bowling alley that was in this building here, we did bring back rollerball. So we couldn't afford a whole bowling alley as much as we would have liked to, but we were able to put in 2 mini bowling lanes that involve smaller bowling balls, and the pins are on strings, so it goes a lot faster. Right now we aren't operating any indoor dining per the guidelines. I know there's some confusion out there, so hopefully that might get addressed tonight. But we are doing family meals for takeout and beer to go Thursday through Sunday. And we do have some minimal outdoor seating for the days that allow that as well. So that's what we're up to. Come on, visit us, and enjoy your beers and have a great time tonight, you guys. Thanks for jumping on and hanging out with Josh.
Thank you, Jackie. I mean, isn't it everybody's dream to have an office right next to a brewery? It's so amazing to have these guys right next door. I'm really excited about this next segment. You know, right now everyone's got the vaccine on the mind, and you know, when can you get it and where is it going to be available? And so we reached out to the experts in our county, and I'm really excited today to be joined by Katelyn Mazer and Michelle Shoresman from the County Emergency Operations Center. And I understand that you have a brief presentation to show us. So I will stop my screen share and allow you to share when you're ready. Maybe introduce yourselves first.
I'll go ahead and let Katelyn introduce herself first.
Thank you, guys. Hi, I'm Katelyn. I am new to the county, so Michelle's going to be leading the presentation, but I'm happy to answer questions that you guys have as well. And I am the Vaccines Public Information Officer for County Public Health.
Okay, I'm trying to share my screen here. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, success. My name is Michelle Shoresman, and I am one of the Public Information Officer team members for our COVID-19 response. I tend to do a lot of media and presentations like this. I'm sort of the face at the beginning of the press conferences, so I'm sure I am probably more recognized by some of you than I recognize of you, but appreciate you guys offering us the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about vaccine. I know it's a hot topic right now, and everybody wants to know sort of what we're doing and ask questions. We'll do our best to answer them. I'm gonna mostly present, but Katelyn, please chime in if I miss something here. And we just have a few slides with some of the basic information to get people's minds turning a little bit. And then happy to take questions for as long as you guys have time for at the end. But I think you guys have a pretty full agenda, so we'll get to it.
Michelle, could you maximize your view there?
Is that better?
Maybe presentation mode.
Oh yeah, from the beginning, there we go.
Does that work? I have two screens, so I'm like seeing one screen. I'm seeing what should be the presentation on one screen. I don't know if it's the screen I'm sharing. Let's see.
How about we go back to the previous view? Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I'm not as savvy about how to do this with two screens.
Okay. That's all right.
Can you mostly see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to make them as big as I can, but okay, so just a few facts about the vaccine. Right now we have 2 vaccines. There is one other vaccine that's in the process, the approval process right now. The 2 vaccines that we have, I'm sure you have all heard the terms Pfizer and Moderna. They are essentially, for all intents and purposes, very, very similar. They have about the same efficacy. They are both 2 doses. The only real differences are that the Pfizer vaccine recommends a minimum of 3 weeks between doses, and the Moderna vaccine recommends a minimum of 4 weeks between doses. The Pfizer vaccine is a little bit harder to maintain. It requires a very low freezing temperature for storage as compared to the Moderna vaccine. So that makes it a little bit more difficult to administer and manage. But we got in line early. Our county was very proactive at the beginning of this pandemic and ordered the freezers, the low temperature freezers that we needed to maintain the Pfizer vaccine so that we were ready to go when Pfizer was being shipped and got into our hands. The benefits are also pretty clear. I think at this point, this is one of the main tools in the toolbox that's going to help us really get back to whatever becomes our new normal. I sort of anticipate that some of the things that have happened that have been positive outcomes, if there have been any of this pandemic, will remain after COVID-19 is long gone. Things like a lot more working from home and hopefully some better hand hygiene that people have taught themselves over the last several months. We'll see what happens with masks in the long term. But I think this is really among one of the key things that's going to get us out of this, because we know that especially our older population and those that are medically fragile are really getting hit hard by this. And if we can protect those individuals and create any level of immunity in that population, we're going to see our hospitalization rate and our death count go down. And that's been one of the primary goals in preventing the spread of this virus over the long term. One of the things that we've implemented in our county, and it's been done elsewhere as well, but because we had anticipated early on that there would be a slow vaccine rollout, was to implement a local vaccine task force that, when faced with difficult decisions about how to prioritize vaccine delivery, we would have a group of people, respected leaders in our communities, that could really both look at and advocate for the needs of their own populations, but also weigh in on what's important for the greater good of our community. So we have this task force. It was meeting once a week for a while, but now it's gone to twice a month, and it receives information from the public. There is a a public comment form, so to speak, on our website that the web address is listed there, and anybody can submit comments to the task force. And when they meet, they receive and they evaluate all the feedback that's been given. They rate it. They look at the different priority groups that are represented in the comments, and they talk about how much advocacy is happening for each group. And when there is a question that Dr. Bornstein has about how prioritization within the tiers that we are already required to follow, when there is a little bit of when there is some discretion there, the vaccine task force has been helping to make recommendations along those lines, and is also able to put up resources. A lot of the groups that are represented there, for example, RTA it represents the transportation sector on the task force. And when we started talking about elderly people having difficulty getting to vaccine appointments at our vaccine clinics, RTA offered up free rides for people to get to and from their vaccine clinics. So that's one of the things that has been a helpful byproduct of this vaccine task force meeting, is that entities are able to offer up services or coordinate with each other to help us implement our vaccination plans better. Right now, we are in what we're calling the early stages or early tiers of phase 1B. We are still, phase 1A was predominantly healthcare workers. And so we are still very much offering vaccine to people that fall into those phase 1A groups. If they, weren't able to get in earlier, or, what we are seeing is that people in general, or some people are wanting to kind of take a look at, they maybe are curious, they're vaccine curious about whether or not it's the right decision for them. And some people don't want to be first. And so they wanted to see how it's gone for others first. And so now, as more people come around to getting the vaccine, we'll still gladly accept them at our vaccination clinics. So we think we've vaccinated a good portion of the healthcare worker population so far in this county. And we've moved on for the last several weeks to adults over the age of 75. And next in line will be some critical infrastructure types of people, different people from within those sectors. And we're still learning more about what the state is going to require versus where we might have some discretion for the task force to help make recommendations about these groups. And the governor has already been pretty clear that 65 and over is going to be a key group, but we're just really limited by vaccine quantities at this point. We hope that we will be able to open it up to some more groups in the coming weeks, and I would say weeks rather than months at this point. But vaccine supply is really our key barrier at this moment, and has been for the last several weeks. So when it is your turn to get a vaccine, and like I said, right now, that would be adults over the age of 75 or healthcare workers, we have a vaccine appointments website that's listed there, recoverslow.org/vaccine appointments. We're asking folks to make sure that when they arrive at their appointment, they bring proof of age or sector. So those who are coming to our vaccination clinics because they're healthcare workers, they need to bring two things with them. Basically, they need to bring some ID saying that they live in San Luis Obispo County, whether that's a driver's license or it could even be a bill, showing that your residence is in Atascadero or San Luis Obispo, a utility bill, something like that. And if they are coming as a healthcare worker, then they need to bring a badge from their employer showing that they work for Tenant Health or Dignity Health or whoever the provider is, or a paycheck stub, something to that effect. And if you're coming to get your vaccine because you qualify because of an age criteria, then you'll need to bring something that shows your age. And we are opening appointments for the following week. So I announced today at our press conference, for example, that appointments for next week will be available starting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. But because appointments occasionally become available based on cancellations or no-shows, we are asking people to check back fairly regularly, either through our phone assistance center or at this website here, to check to see every once in a while if there happen to be any cancellations or vaccine appointments being made available due to vaccine supply as well. These are just a few statistics of what we've done so far. Just recently, within the last few days, actually, the state has also rolled out a vaccine distribution dashboard that actually shows a little bit of information that we aren't able to capture on our website, but we do have a vaccine dashboard, and these are some screenshots from our vaccine dashboard. Currently, as of last week, we update this weekly, but as of last week, we had received within SLO County Public Health about 25,000 doses of vaccine, and we had vaccinated about 15,500 people. This does not include the stats on our dashboard do not include vaccines that are provided through some of our healthcare partners that are getting their own distributions directly from the state or the federal government. And it does also not include vaccine that is being provided to long-term care facilities through the federal program that's a partnership between long-term facilities, the federal government, and CVS pharmacies. So, but the state's website is able to capture all of the vaccine doses given. It doesn't provide all of the vaccine doses received in the county, but it does calculate and show all of the doses given. And right now that dashboard at the state level says that we've given out about 30,000 doses throughout all the different types of partners and providers that are vaccinating right now. Where can you get the vaccine? We have 3 locations this week for the past couple of weeks. Last week, we opened an Arroyo Grande high school site, and with that brought our total to 3 from the 2 previous sites that we had available at the Paso Robles Event Center and at Cuesta College. We actually just moved the Cuesta College site from our health department campus on Sierra Way in SLO because Cuesta College was going to provide it's a better site for us, more space, more capacity in other ways for logistics. So we moved that site to Cuesta College. So this week we're providing vaccine at all 3 sites. Next week, we will unfortunately have to temporarily close the Paso Robles site and the Arroyo Grande site because of vaccine availability. We learned yesterday that our allocation of new doses that we'll be getting next week is exceptionally low. We're not happy about that, and we're not sure why. But because of that, we've decided to condense and consolidate our resources back to just the Cuesta site. And while we will still have first dose appointments available, we will really be focusing on getting out second doses at that site. So we'll do over 1,000 second doses next week because of the discrepancy in first doses that we have available. And again, here's the information that I was talking about a little bit earlier with regards to elderly folks that are not able to get transportation to their appointments. You can call the RTA roundabout at that phone number, and they have said they will give point-to-point rides for anybody who needs one, at least for the time being. So hopefully that will stick and we'll be able to take advantage of that for as long as this lasts. And then here's just a quick slide with some resources and important websites to take into consideration. We do have an email subscription feature on our website. You can sign up for all COVID-19 updates, or you can sign up for just vaccine updates. And so that is that emergencyslo.org/subscribe website link. We also have all our media briefings. If you haven't seen our Wednesday afternoon briefings at 3:15, I would tune into that on either our YouTube channel or on the local news websites. You can also find all the briefings on our website, the video recordings of our briefings on our website at readyslo.org, as well as on our Facebook, our SLO Public Health Facebook page. And then, as always, we have our phone assistance center and our recorded public health information line that you can listen to updates on or get specific questions to answered by a real person at the phone assistance center 7 days a week. And they can also help people make appointments if they're having trouble navigating the appointment website, or if they just don't have access to the internet or have, any kind of problems related to that. We know a lot of elderly people are more comfortable on the phone, so there is 15 or so staff there ready to answer your call, and they're all very empathetic, wonderful people, and do their very best to answer any questions that you might have. So that's my last slide. Try to keep it brief, but I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. I'll take a look at the chat as well in case people type things in.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Katelyn. I think I speak on behalf of everyone that we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all the amazing work that you're doing. And wow, that is what a logistical craziness that you probably all have to go through on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. It was such a great presentation that allowed us to go over time a little bit, which means we don't have a lot of time for Q&A right now. But if you have a question, I'd encourage you to put it in the chat, and Michelle and Katelyn can maybe respond to them as we're moving on. And maybe if you guys can stick around, maybe at the end and afterwards, we could have a little Q&A afterwards. Does that work?
Yeah, I'm happy to stick around for a little while. Unfortunately, I have a child at home needing help with homework, so I'll stick around for about 10 or 15 minutes here, and then Katelyn can follow up afterwards too.
Understandable. Thank you again. All right, we're going to move on to our city update from our new council member, Councilmember Mark Derez. Mark, and you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. No. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because it wasn't on mute. I thought, well, maybe I was. Okay, you must have unmuted me. Thank you. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. I see some faces here that I do recognize. So there's a handful of people here, but I will give a brief description or introduction of myself and where I came from, and say that 1991 was a big year for me. It's three big things happened for me. I got married, moved down to the Central Coast, and I started Cal Poly for my architecture program. Moved to Atascadero in 2003. And at that point, well, actually within about 6 years of that point, I was introduced to community service. Some people that live on my block are members of the Kiwanis Club, asked me, since I was an architect, if I would help them redesign the bandstand, which I'm particularly proud of because it gets a lot of use in the Atascadero Lake Park. So I helped them design that, and of course our club built that. And I say our club because I put that effort into it. They said I had to join the club, so I did, and then quickly became president of the club. Now I'm current treasurer, and really got my jumped in with both feet with, like I say, with community service, and within short order was asked if I would be interested in serving on the planning commission by our, at the time, Tom O'Malley. He was a city councilman probably before there was even an elected mayor, I think, at the time. So I served on that. With my background as an architect, it seemed fitting. It was something that I didn't know anything about, but I thought it'd be very interesting. And as it turns out, I really enjoyed it, and continued that for the past 10 years. And finally decided to take the leap to run for city council, which is, obviously where I'm at now. And I'm, proud to serve. So moving on with city issues. So obviously now, as it's already been discussed a number of times, is our struggles with COVID and the shutdowns. Individually, businesses in particular. That's particularly difficult to really see. And as a community person, and an official now, I suppose, and in seeing how businesses are struggling, it's really difficult to try to figure out, how can what can we do to help with that? And I'm going to touch on that. Well, actually, I'll touch on it right now. The city, with what if you don't know much about the city of Atascadero and what it takes to run a city, this is one of the things that I've learned over the years as planning commissioner getting involved is Atascadero. We have a lot of infrastructure to take care of and one of the smallest budgets to be able to do that. And it's remarkable that this city has been able to be so fiscally responsible that we're not deep in the red. That's very, very impressive. And what really impressed me, this kind of blew me away because this was one of the first things that I got involved with as a city councilman just this past month or two, was that we actually had money set aside or that we could put forward to be able to help our businesses with the small business grants because of the struggles that they have. So just a couple of weeks ago, we were able to issue over $256,000 to 64 different businesses to be able to help them out with payroll and other expenses, rent and whatnot. So anywhere from $1,200 roughly to $4,200 for each individual business, which to me was just very impressive that we were able to do that. Also, as you drive downtown, La Plaza is moving along nicely. I think it's going to be a beautiful building. It's going to be, I think, one of the best additions to downtown. I'm looking forward to seeing that. That in conjunction with, which is a little bit of a hot button, the redesign of the street, turning it into one way or two lanes with interior parking. I think it's going to be a good thing. If anybody here has tried to cross El Camino Real as it is now, it's a very, very wide street, about 100 feet. For those of you that don't know me, I use a wheelchair. It's a long ways to cross when people are driving 40, 45 miles an hour. So this will make it much more pedestrian friendly. I think it's going to be, I think it'll be a nice thing. That along with La Plaza and other things that's going on will, I think it's going to really enliven downtown. And the main thing that we struggle with is economic development. And I think this is going to help with that. So that's going to be a good thing. Now, the other thing is that was worked on in the last year or so is the Walmart property. The specific plan was changed. So it'll be more of a business park and light manufacturing and stuff. There's some other little minor things that could potentially happen in there that will help bring businesses to Atascadero, bring people to Atascadero. The thing that I've always said is, what can we do to Atascadero to really improve life and business and whatever, is to make Atascadero a destination one way or another. And I don't compete with Paso Robles in the wine industry. You embrace it one way or another and try to make it work somehow here and bring people here so we can enjoy that. And then the main thing also right now that we're dealing with is the D20 funds that will be coming forward because of you, the citizens, have voted for the 1% sales tax. So we've had, there's 10 or 12 workshops to discuss what are your thoughts about where this money should be spent, because it did go into the general fund, but it was promised that it would go for emergency services, which is very important to me. I'm going to tell you right now that's where I think it needs to go 100%, but we'll discuss it. But there's lots of different areas where it can go within that realm. But please, I think there are 2 more sessions to be able to get in and chime in on. February 4th, which is what's today? That's tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and then Saturday at 9 a.m. Tune in on that. You can go to the Atascadero website and log in, and you can be a part of that discussion. So your thoughts can be recorded as to where you think those funds can be. And then one last thing that came up at the last council meeting was a program put together by the fire department. It's called a Know Your Zone. And I don't have all the details. I don't remember them all, but I do remember that it was to me, it was just a great thing, especially with our community and where we have, especially people that live up in the hills and whatnot, where you have maybe limited exits out of your area in case of a disaster, a big fire or something. This program, this will show you a map of if something happens and you hear that there's a big fire, you open up this thing and it'll tell you which way to go so you're not driving into the fire or driving into the disaster. I thought it was just fantastic. So Know Your Zone and D20, and of course, the small business grants, I think, are the 3 of the biggest things that we're going on for our community right now. But Anyway, like I say, very important getting involved with D20. I would really appreciate that. And anyway, if you have any questions, I'll do what I can to answer them. I don't even know how long I went, but sometimes I feel like I'm talking too fast.
You did perfect. You did perfect.
Okay.
Member. And thank you. And welcome to the council. We're glad to have you on board. And thank you for those updates. Madison posted a link to the D20 public workshops that are still available.
Perfect.
I know I've heard a few people say they got to participate, and I did too. And it was a wonderful experience to learn about some of the financial challenges that the city's facing and the opportunities we have with this funding. So please carve out some time to get engaged in that.
Right. Well, thank you for the opportunity, Josh. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. Okay. We are, and I also wanted to say that our next ATalks, which will be in March 7th, I believe, we are going to be talking about the Know Your Zone. We're going to be joined by Fire Chief Casey Bryson, so we'll learn more about that program. Next, I'm excited to share a commercial that was filmed by Quantum, Healing the Quantum Way, and Leslie Kubin and her team. And I'm going to go ahead and share the video, and then Leslie, maybe you could share a few comments at the end. Leslie's there. She's got the moon behind her there.
I do. I had to turn the lights on. It's getting dark.
Okay, where did it go? Do you see a screen with a video on it? Or
I do.
Okay, good. Now I think Madison, I might have to push one more button to adjust the sound to allow the sound from my computer.
Yes. So when you first hit screen share, there should have been a little box that popped up where you can click share my computer sound. So as long as you click that, you should be good.
Share sound. Okay, I think we're good now. Here we go.
Welcome to Healing the Quantum Way. We're here for your wellness and well-being. This is my team. This is Michelle Demos, the office manager, Laura Luttrell, biofeedback therapist and energy healer, and I'm Leslie Kubin. I'm a biofeedback specialist and an AIT
where I keep all the supplements and herbs that I work with. I use these herbs to help with very specific conditions in the body. So anything from inflammation and arthritis to immune support, detox, things like that. So we'll deal with that after we figure out what it is specifically that someone
Well, here's
needs.
Laura doing a biofeedback session. Biofeedback therapy is all about stress reduction and retraining how your body responds to stresses. Through the straps that Charlie has on, you can see around his head, his wrists, and his ankles. And then there's the little blue box there. That's the biofeedback device. So that's scanning him. And when it's scanning him, it's picking up on a voltage, amperage, and resistance reaction through his skin, showing if there's a stress response. And then if there's a stress response, Laura uses the computer software to then send frequencies back to his body to retrain how his body is responding to whatever the stress is. This was one of the many hundreds of panels within the biofeedback. There's also a drop-down menu of many different emotional states, from anger to bipolar depression, building up self-image, things like that, autism, ADD, that can be worked on individually as well throughout the biofeedback program.
Hi, my name is Laura Luttrell. I'm a Reiki Master Energy Healer. With energy healing, there's a couple different modalities that I do with clients. With Reiki, Reiki's known as laying on of hands, transferring energy from myself to client. I also do Sikhem energy healing and Edgar Casey's Egyptian energy healing. I also incorporate sound healing into some of my sessions as well, using tuning forks in a couple of different ways. So using a C&G tuning fork, which creates what's known as the perfect pitch or perfect fifth. This can greatly calm the autonomic nervous system.
Cool.
At Healing the Quantum Way, we offer hour-long energy healing sessions.
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate the acupoint integrative technique that I do. It is a form of muscle testing or kinesiology, applied kinesiology. So I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate with Michonne. So this is muscle testing. So I first just see, is she testable? She is testable. So then I'm gonna just start to see, where does her body gonna lead me? There's points all over the body. A lot of them correspond to acupuncture points, and they'll go weak. So like this is a inflammation point. If it goes weak, then I look at, where does she have inflammation? Well, maybe she's complaining she had a stomach ache earlier today. So there's a stomach point here at the stomach, and it would go weak. And then I would scan off of that to, there's points for bacteria and all the kind of the lymph areas of the body. There's points for viruses, and I just kind of keep looking around to see what goes weak. So let's say she had a virus show up. Well, let's just go for what we're all dealing with. Maybe it's COVID, right? So we'll check for COVID. Well, I'm not finding COVID in her stomach. That's a good thing. Don't want that, but maybe it's just a regular flu, just an influenza. So maybe she's got influenza. So her body's showing positive for an influenza virus. So then what do I do from there? I go, well, how do we get rid of viruses? So there's a couple of different supplements I use for viruses. So I'll pull out one of these. We'll grab that one. We'll try that. And so if this is the correct supplement for her, now the virus is gone. So when I hold this up to her, her body no longer shows that there's a virus. To her body again to see how strong is this and find out, where is there a weakness? Where is there an imbalance? And if I can find, sometimes there's possibly a chemical at the thyroid that can be influencing it. So this case over here is all chemicals. So I can specifically look and see what chemical do we need to clear if it's a chemical. So again, then I go to the supplements and pull out a bunch of different supplements to determine what is it that is needed to clear the chemical, possibly support, in this case, thyroid is the example, and we can kind of go from there. So to wrap up, here at Healing the Quantum Way, we are here for your wellness and your well-being. So just so everybody understands, we do take COVID precautions. We are very concerned and careful about that. We do wear masks when people are here, and we wipe down between each person. We never have more than one person in each office. And all appointments can be done remotely over the phone. Booking can be done online on the website, or you can call in. Most appointments are an hour long, and we're here to help you in any way we can.
All right. Thank you, Leslie. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
The commercial kind of does it. I mean, there's so many things that we can work with. I think that's partly what is really hard to show in the little video, was that I see a lot of people because they come to me because they don't feel good. They don't feel right. Doctors have tested them and say, you know, they can't find anything in lab work. They're fine. So really what I offer is something different for people that just go, you know, I just don't feel as well as I'd like to. And we just kind of keep searching until we find something, whether it's with the biofeedback or the technique that I use, the AIT. We can usually find some imbalance or weakness in the body. And it's really about trying to support the body as best we can with supplements and herbs until somebody's body really feels more where they want it to feel. And with what I do with the supplements, I'm not about trying to put up people on supplements forever. Usually this is for, you know, a short period of time, a month or two. It just really depends on what somebody's trying to clear. And we just kind of work through the pieces until they're like, I feel great. And that's it. That's what we try to do.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Leslie. Wow, that's just so fascinating. It's really interesting. I got to come in and check it out myself.
Absolutely. And that's another thing I was going to mention, that anybody that really wants to understand a little bit more about what we do, come on into the office or call and make a little appointment. We're happy to kind of give you a demo or a little tour, you know, talk to Michonne. I'll answer questions now or later, whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I think Madison's going to throw up a link to your website here in a moment.
And I just had one quick question too. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but Leslie, do you guys treat kids as well?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We treat kids.
I'll be calling tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And kids are actually great to work with because they heal and recover much more quickly from some of the things going on. Because
I'm
years
hoping.
of stuff.
Yes. Okay. I 100% believe in you guys. I had seen someone that does your profession in Pismo, and he totally helped me. And so I believe wholeheartedly in what you do. So I really appreciate you guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. I came to do what I do because I was diagnosed with MS over 10 years ago and was completely disabled. And what I do now has given me back a normal life.
You wouldn't know, yeah. All right, well, Jillian, this is a great segue into your segment. We're going to be shining a spotlight on the Boys and Girls Club. They are a nonprofit spotlight of the month. And I know that Boys and Girls Club is here in Atascadero, but that's about all I know. So Jillian, tell us more about the program here.
Okay, so hi everyone. I do want to thank you, Josh, for calling me out of the blue and saying, Jillian, do you have time? Because this is awesome. Hi everyone, and thank you for having me. My name's Jillian. I am the area director for the Boys and Girls Club Mid Central Coast of North County. So basically we merged with Santa Maria and we have clubs all up and down the Central Coast. And I oversee just North County with Atascadero, Paso Robles, and Shandon. I've been in this industry, in nonprofit industry, and serving and helping facilitate volunteers and children mentoring basically for over 25 years. So I've done a lot with this specifically, and I have to say, I just love it. Basically, we are operating at half capacity. When COVID hit, we closed the same day that all the schools closed. March 13th, Friday the 13th, we closed down. We had no idea what to expect, what to do, where we were going or anything. So we closed down. We followed the district's advice and said, let's close shop until we can figure out what to do safely and figure it out. So we run camp from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day with 100 kids. And this year we didn't. This year we had no camp. We basically went virtual. So my team and I got together and we basically did videos and programming online via Instagram and Facebook for all of our members. So our members could come on and join and basically get to see their favorite teachers and interact and do activities and crafts and STEM and math and everything else you can think of while they're stuck at home. So it was a great way to keep our relationships active. It was a great way for us to not feel secluded. It was a great way for the kids to not feel secluded, and for their parents also. It's a great outlet for the parents to just be like, you're not watching YouTube, are you watching the Boys and Girls Club? And the kids are like, yeah, we're doing this. And so it was great. So we went virtual until about July, mid-July. We were in talks with Penny Bornstein and said, we have to open. This is what we do. This is our mission. We serve kids, especially the ones that need us most. What can we do? Can we open? And so Penny said, as long as you guys get the waiver from the state and that you serve, I just went blank. As long as you serve frontline students, you know, the parents who are working front lines and the essential workers, as long as you're helping those students, yes, you can be open, you can come back. So we really quickly formed a safety task force, and following CDC guidelines, we opened. And we took a hit. I mean, if you can imagine, my Paso Robles site went from 142 kids to 32 kids. So and same with the Atascadero. So Atascadero, we operate out of the Fine Arts School, which is amazing. Kibby Rubin, the principal there, is fabulous. Tom is amazing, the superintendent. So we used to have 89 kids in Atascadero. Now we have 18. So we're helping our essential worker parents, but we're doing it under the safety and regulations of the CDC. So it's been something. It's definitely different. It's definitely not what we're used to. The kids, everything is, you know, a non-sharing type of activity. Now the kids play tag, and it's a noodle that they're tagging their friends with because they can't touch each other. You know, the Legos are a one-person Lego team, and when those Legos are done being used, it's a sanitation spray, and you know, we sanitize every 20 minutes. We have extra staff to be our sanitizers that don't interact with the kids or staff, but they literally follow the groups around and sanitize where they've been and what they're touching. So it's definitely been a challenge, but we have faced it head on. We have waiting lists to come back to our programs. The kids all are very happy and super excited just to be with each other, just to not be at home. So like I said, we used to run camps. Well, now we are open every single day, 7:30 to 6 o'clock, and the kids who do their virtual learning, they come to us. So we basically have taken on the role of the full-time tutor. So we now are communicating. Before we communicated with teachers and principals, but now the teachers are calling every day. Parents have said, hey, my child, this, that, and the other. We say, yes, we'll take care of it. You know, when before it was just like, hey, we're dealing with this kind of thing. Parents now are like, hey, we're struggling in math. Can you help? And, you know, so that's where we are, basically full-time tutors. And I have to say that my staff, I have a staff of 32. They have absolutely taken the challenge head on, and it's been amazing. And the parents, the feedback that we get from the parents has just been phenomenal, as far as we could never do this at home, and it was tears and it was fighting and it was a struggle. Whereas now they pick them up, the homework is done, they've attended class all day, and the kids are in a good mood. They got to see their friends, they got to play a little bit, and they just got to be kids and kind of forget that COVID's happening, even though they have to wear a mask full time. And, you know, I don't want to see your nose and I don't want to see your mouth, but I can tell you're smiling at me. So there are all kinds of things to get used to. So that's where we are now. I don't want to take up too much time. We're trying to flourish in our new normal. So I think the kids really speak to us through their attitudes, and we kind of gauge where we're going with that, as far as, you know, that wasn't working. I didn't hear too much feedback from the kids on that. Let's try something new. Let's revamp our workshop. Let's, you know, order something else because that's not working. Let's try something new. So we really just try to stay ahead of the game. We just, you know, we got to stay safe, and we're trying the best that we can. We've had, it's been great.
Thank you so much. It's clear you love your job.
I love my job. I do love
infectious. Thank you so much for sharing about the
No, thank you.
We were really happy to have you here tonight, and I thank you all for sticking with us as we've gone over time. And I'm going to wrap up my comments really briefly, and then we can all stick around or sign off afterwards, and there'll be some Q&A for those that wanted to stick around. But you know, there was one thing that I was kind of on the fence about whether or not to share with people, because it's breaking news. But I think I am just going to leak this bit of information to this crowd. You're going to hear it here first. But we are really excited to say that we are moving forward with our annual gala this year and award ceremony. And it is going to be virtual. Come on, I've got it. There we go. It's just going to be a virtual gala and award ceremony. And we're really excited about this. We've got a really fun, fast-paced program that we're going to be going through, and we're going to have our silent auction and our live auction, and it should be a really good evening. So we want everyone to just put this date on their calendar, and associated with that is our nomination. So a big part of this evening, of course, is awarding our Citizen of the Year, and we're joined here tonight by last year's Citizen of the Year, Terry. Wave to everyone. Thank you for being here, Terry. And we are looking for an Entrepreneur of the Year, the Business of the Year. So if you have someone in mind that is worthy of one of those awards, please see the chat for a link to fill out that nomination form and submit that so we can evaluate those submittals. More information. This has just been kind of come together this week, well, for a couple of weeks, but the date is being shared this week, and we don't have information quite yet, but look on our website soon for ticket information. But really tonight, we just wanted to share the date, April 17th. It's a Saturday night, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, so with that, I just want to thank everyone for participating, and let's see if I can stop sharing. And I hope that you are able to learn some new information about the vaccines, and that you'll visit our friend Jackie at Wildfields and Leslie at Healing the Quantum Way, and that you learn something about the Boys and Girls Club. A lot of wonderful information tonight. Thank you all.